Hello everybody, welcome back to this channel. I've not been posting for a while. I was moving here. This is my new studio, as you can see. It's still being set up. I don't know how it will look once I'm done. Also, earlier this month I was traveling, so that's why you haven't been seeing me that much. But here I am, back again. I also took my time off to reflect really on what I want to do with this channel. I think that I want my videos to be as close as possible to a audiobook or an audiobook summary. That's what I think you'll see going forward. You're going to see 20-30 minute long episodes of me speaking. They're not going to be edited particularly well. I'm not going to do many reactions anymore, maybe just some random ones if there is something that I really find funny. But this is going to be more of an educational place than anything else. So I'm going to speak about stuff that I think about the economy, about society, about history. I think you're going to see a lot of history and maybe some literature. I've been reading a lot of books lately, and I know you may think that's gay, but it's not. It really isn't. The books are awesome. They are fucking awesome, man. I think that I had a profound realization about the state of the world that we're in right now. And it stems from the ways that we communicate it. So the world today is very fragmented. And there are a lot of groups with a lot of ideas. And generally, they don't coexist. The other, so anything that is outside of you or your immediate group is seen as a threat nowadays. And I think that it's going to sound stupid maybe. Maybe you think that I'm talking about something that is non-relevant, but I think that short form video and the way that it works has normalized a lot of not just rudeness but violence, because when you see someone that you don't like and you scroll, you're pretty much killing that person. You're taking it out of your sight as soon as possible. You're like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to know anything about this. I don't like this person. And you just get rid of it immediately, like that, with a scroll of a thumb. And so I think that violence in our society has been more socially tolerated. This kind of thing also always happens when the way of communicating changes. Generally, what happens, what follows, is that the way that people interact and the way the politics go really changes. And I think that with the technology that is this violent, you may not realize it. Once again, you may think I'm just watching cat videos, but what is happening actually is that your biases are being pushed to the limit, and your ability of feeling dislike towards someone or something is being made much more prominent, and you can act immediately on it. So you get rid of people like that. That's kind of what we've seen in the wars that are unfolding lately. And also we live at a time of unprecedented political turmoil. I've not seen anything like that in the last few years. I've actually probably never seen anything like that in my entire life. I've never seen a situation in which there are wars everywhere. There is political leaders being crazy openly on Twitter, posting shit like, I'll tariff the shit out of you, I'll nuke you, I'll do this, I'll do that. That's never how politics worked. And so I think that we are also at a very important point in politics, where the change in the ways that we communicate has reflected in the ways that politics actually works. And so what we're seeing is politicians that are more and more comedians, more and more social media personalities, more and more these kind of people that live off of the thrill of creating, scandalous news, of breaking the internet, of pushing the boundaries. That's not something that you want from a president, you know. And so, since this is the environment that we live in, I think that there is a lot of volatility. If we look at how the wars started, I'm talking about the world wars in this particular case. Both of them started without any actual intent from any party in starting a world war. These kind of things, they just happen. There is something that happens, a crazy little something that just triggers everything else that comes after it. So, to me, we're not living in a situation that is particularly different from that. There also is another reason for that, and that is the economic state of a lot of countries is abysmal. A lot of states are in very poor economic conditions. I'm not just talking about the average citizen, I'm talking about the governments being extremely in debt. Extremely in debt. And the only way they're maybe going to be able to pay their debts are going to either raise taxes, which is going to cause revolt, or print more money, which is going to collapse the currency. So what I'm trying to tell you is we live in a time in history that is kinda crazy. It's very, very, very turbulent. I expect a lot of turmoil. And we've also seen a strong push in recent times towards a stronger investment in military. We've seen a lot of companies come out that actually work in the military complex now. And we've seen a lot of technological progress in warfare as well. And that kind of situation obviously creates the incentives even more for the side that has the better technology to attack. So, unfortunately, I think that wars are inevitable. It may not seem like that. And maybe these wars will go, they'll go on hidden. They'll not be publicly displayed. But behind the scenes, there will be officials fighting in negotiations, ruthless negotiations, tariffs, and whatnot. There is going to be a lot of diplomatic pressure. What I'm saying is that the governments are not in good shape. The governments are actually, right now, as weak as they've ever been. They've lost most credibility. A lot of countries are very inefficient in the services they provide. Obviously, they're not inefficient in the tax collection. But I think that on a grand scale, the economic situation is very, very bad. Now, I was 7 years old in 2008. But what I'm expecting, honestly, is some kind of recession. I don't know if it will be driven by wars, driven by tariffs, driven by something. Again, I can't predict the details. These kind of situations are always kind of outside of the people's control. And who could have predicted that, like, the killing of Duke Ferdinand, I think it was Ferdinand, I think it was him. Who could have predicted that his killing would have triggered World War One? Who could have predicted that in 2020 a random virus coming from China could have collapsed freedom of speech and so many other freedoms in the world? A lot of these kind of situations are unpredictable. So the outcome can be seen from before, but the exact specific way isn't really, visible beforehand. But what I think is that, buying gold is a good idea. That's what I'm kind of getting to. We've seen gold prices raise significantly since the war with Ukraine and Russia. A lot of tensions, gold moving around. Ultimately, what it's all about is currencies. The currencies of the world are being exposed more and more for the fact that they don't mean anything. The dollar doesn't mean anything. The ruble doesn't mean anything. The euro doesn't mean anything. The rupee doesn't mean anything. Nothing means anything. None of these currencies are backed by anything. The only thing they're backed by is war. And that's what we're going to see. And we're going to see a lot of military spending, which is probably already priced in. If you look at Palantir's stock, Palantir is likely going to be the most disruptive technology in warfare. I believe that. If you look at the stock, they are priced at a massive premium. They're priced at something like, I don't remember if 400 or 600 times the earnings. But that means that you would have to, if you bought the stock today and the earnings were the same for the next 400 years, that's when you would break even. That's what it means. So I think that the markets are really expecting a lot of turmoil in the future. I think the PE ratios probably are a good indication of where is it that people, insiders, believe that the money is really going to go. So strong PE ratios are likely indicating us something that is going to happen. So if there is a lot of money moving somewhere, it's likely because the people who put that money know what they're doing. So anyway, what I was trying to get mainly is that a lot of governments, to fund their operations, are just going to have to print money. And what happens when you print a lot of money? We've seen it through COVID. They printed so much money, a lot of money, so much of it. And now you have inflation everywhere. Every currency of the world is experiencing inflation, hyperinflation. I think that the whole world may just end up like Argentina. The whole world may end up defaulting on its debt. That is a very scary kind of outlook. And that kind of situation also weakens economic progress. So this in turn, this imminent recession or collapse in standards of living, what will come with it? What will come with the downfall of currencies is that while they get fixed, there is going to be a lot of poverty and likely a lot of unemployment. We've heard AI will take your job and stuff like that, and I think that that's the best time possible for that kind of thing to happen. Since companies will be laying off people, they will still need someone to do the job. And AI is timed perfectly in this kind of scenario. So what will happen of the people? What will happen of the people? I think that we've seen what will happen. They will end up watching videos all day on YouTube. That's what you do when you're unemployed. I know that's unfortunate. I know that's not great. But I think that is kind of likely what is going to happen. And so I think that YouTube is going to see a surge in activity, Instagram, as if it wasn't doing so like great. They've already hooked people onto it. If people end up having a lot more free time, they might just have them forever. Which is a very scary kind of vision. This kind of world in which everybody is jobless and a zombie that is just watching videos all day. But that's kind of the cheapest thing that you can do, you know. So I urge you, in the case of, in case that kind of thing happens to you, don't end up watching videos all day long, man. But also these videos serve a secondary purpose, and that is these videos, these platforms onto which the unemployed populace is going to fall on, they may be used to push narratives that actually push government agendas. So, say the government wants to print money now to fix the economy, That's kind of the message that they'll get across to you via these channels. And so that's why you see some media groups having crazy valuations lately. That's what I think is going to happen. If you pick the right side, the communications, the media groups, the platforms like Rumble are going to be extremely valuable because those are going to be the access points to the minds of the people. And the kind of politics that we're seeing today is all-encompassing. I think that China has unfortunately influenced Western democracies to the point that now we are living in a totalitarian surveillance state without even knowing it. It's so deceptive, And these are the ways that the control over the populace is held. And so this to tell you that I'm probably very long gold. I'm probably very long Rumble. Rumble is one of the stocks that I'm looking at. And actually, I'm short on a lot of tech stocks. So Facebook is one I hate. It made me a lot of money, but I hate it. So I'm probably closing my positions on big tech, mainly because they are one of the first things that is going to be punished when it comes to punishing the US. If the US is to be punished, that's going to be perpetrated through big tech. And we see it now. China actually has maintained its sovereignty, not just by, having a fascist sort of state, but also by controlling the technological landscape. So they have their own internet, their own apps, their own everything. And I think since we're seeing the US lose so much of its power, I think that, Russia probably already has banned big tech. And I sense that it's kind of likely that European Union, Latin America, maybe Asia, will start developing their own kind of internet ecosystem. And once this hegemony is broken, the kind of things that come out are very difficult to predict, to be honest. But I think that the unified internet for everybody, everywhere in the world, that risks being broken up into something like radio or TV stations across the world. And that is a very interesting prospect to me. It may end up being a jump back to the past, like That is crazy. Um, but I also think that big tech has sort of exceeded its powers. It's been actually violent in the ways that it has conducted its business, violent to the people. It's the kind of collection of data that goes on with big tech is unbelievably invasive. You know, anytime you log into YouTube, you are being tracked. Everything that you look at, everything that you see, everything that you click, everything that you like is being watched. You are watching while being watched. And that's how they developed such an addictive algorithm. That's how they developed such an addictive experience. But that is fundamentally violating, the very humanness of you. And that, I believe, is one of the great topics that nobody talks about. The ownership of data. I think that is a very important topic that is being overlooked. I don't think that these companies have the right to the data. But also I think that this kind of business obviously benefits from the network effect, meaning that if everybody is on a network, new people will obviously choose that since it has everybody on it. But it's also true that the networks can be broken up pretty quickly if you just take away the most valuable assets. And that may be the best content creators. If they all move to somewhere else, the platform gets broken. And also, the value from the customer for these companies depends on having a constant data stream. And so even if 10% of users boycott Instagram, it loses so much of its ability in influencing that 10% of people. And by extension, it probably loses a lot of influence on all of the users that still stay. But yeah, what I see is a much more fragmented internet, which is not a bad thing. And what else? Well, what will grow exponentially instead of the internet is probably assets like Bitcoin. I have a good exposure. Actually, I think 70% of my portfolio is Bitcoin. So that is really unreasonable. But I believe in it. I believe it's going to grow. At the same time, if there is a recession, like I said earlier, Bitcoin likely is going to be liquidated a lot. A lot of people who will need some liquidity will sell their Bitcoin. The price will likely go down with the stock market. So it's going to be interesting. But that is something that you buy for the long run. You don't sell it tomorrow or in a year or in 3 years or in 5 years. You hold it forever. And it'll turn into a lot of money, hopefully. What else can I tell you? What else have I been thinking about? I talked about recessions. I talked about the fact that the unemployed people will likely be taken advantage of by gaining their political alliance, by gaining their political trust, and probably that's going to be through means of communication secondary to the main tech ecosystem. Also because most social media is very censored. You can really feel it. It's very safeguarded. It's very limited in the kind of things that you can say. That's again why I think that Rumble is going to be kind of interesting, because I believe that it has a way into people's minds. Every time I watch Rumble, I think they're always talking about some crazy stuff like that actually makes a difference. Whereas on YouTube, you have AdSense merchants who make 30-minute long video essays on irrelevant stuff. You have just people playing into the narratives that are being pushed. It's just, YouTube is great to watch old lectures, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. But Rumble feels like this dimension into a higher awareness kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I think Rumble is going to be valuable and big tech is going to struggle. Hopefully, I think that the data colonialism and the data ownership kind of issues are talked about more. I'll be talking about them much more. And likely Bitcoin is going to be the new internet, since it won't be fragmented. It's just going to be a protocol that works everywhere. Okay, I think that this video was long enough, good enough. This is my comeback video, unedited. You can expect more in the coming days. They'll probably be scripted. I'm probably opening a Telegram channel of my own. And yeah, I think this will be posted also on Rumble. It's going to be posted on Spotify and on X, I think. But yeah, I'll catch you in the coming days. I have a video on Bitcoin. I have a video on on the Technological Republic, which is a book I read. That was very interesting. And then I have a video on 1984. Okay, awesome. Thanks for watching so far. I'll see you in the next video.